Welcome to Playbook for Performance, the official podcast of Shawna Corden, the Joan of Arc for corporate healing and performance. Join the quest to make work fun again by preparing leadership for engaging workplaces. And now, your host.
Welcome back to another episode of the Playbook for Performance podcast. I'm Shawna Corden. This month we're talking about team coaching, and specifically today we are talking about enhancing team engagement. Now, we've talked on the podcast multiple times about the level of engagement these days. It's hovering at 79%, it's 21%. 21% of your employees are engaged, roughly 1 out of 5. The other 4 are varying from doing the best they can, but they don't know what to do or how to do it, or they're checked out. So it's a tough situation for leaders, so it pays to invest in engaging your team. Well, how do you engage your team? Well, we're going to talk about that today. So it's really the way to keep your team members motivated, keep them productive, and make sure that they feel satisfied with their job. So what is engagement? How do we define it? Well, when we talk about engagement, we're talking about productivity, profitability, and retention. Are they working on the right tasks that further your organization along? Are they doing it in an efficient way? And do they want to stick around, or are they actively looking for another role? Those are the things that we're talking about. Now, retention is, I think, the most difficult of the three, because a really good organization has like 4 to 6% turnover. Generally, depending on the field, it could be as much as 15, even 30% turnover, which means that you're constantly recruiting, interviewing, hiring, training, and you might go through all of that just to have them leave. And if you don't do it the right way, they're going to be the 4 out of 5 that are just barely scraping by, either because they haven't been trained properly, they don't know what to do, they don't have the tools to do it, or they think this job rots. So, sad news. So, when we talk about engagement, the best way to measure it is the Gallup 12 questions. 12 questions, super simple. You can Google it, Gallup's Q12. But it falls into 4 categories. What do I give? What do I get? Can I grow? Do I belong? Essentially, it's, did the leader do their job of painting the vision and then connecting the dots from what I do every day to that vision? So that's the give. What do I get? Do I have the tools and training to do the job that I've been asked to do? Is someone talking to me about growing in my job? So getting better at what I do, learning new things. And then finally, is this a friendly environment for me? Do people ask questions in terms of my opinion? Do I have a best friend at work? All of those things contribute to an engaged workforce. It's a tough row to hoe for a leader, no doubt about it, because while you're supposed to be completing this management by objective set of lists, at the same time, you're trying to keep everybody happy, and everybody's needs are different. So there are some activities that you can do that will really help promote engagement. Number 1 is create a sense of purpose with your team. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the end result of that? How are people's lives better? How is my own life better by doing it? Really tapping into that sense of purpose, and our younger generations are definitely even more inclined to connect with the why of what they do. I have found that of the younger generations that I work with, just collecting a paycheck and being a provider for your family and doing a good job is not enough for them anymore. They are happy to jump to move to something else that they find more inspiring, whether it's saving the whales or protecting the environment or whatever it might be. Recognize and reward efforts. Just like when we're training children in manners, we want to catch them doing things right. Hey, good job using that correct fork. Hey, good job using your napkin. Hey, I love how you kept a tidy workspace. Elevate that to the specifics of each person's position, plan, and job. Hey, I love that you are the calm in the storm. Or, hey, I love how you are not ruffled when things go awry. Things like that really go a long way. People feel appreciated, so be sure to recognize them and reward them. That means financially too. Doesn't always have to be cash. It could be attending educational events. It could be extra time off. Money, movie tickets, you name it, lots and lots of ways that don't have to come with a merit increase in their salary or their hourly wage. Providing growth opportunities. It might be to tag along at the next level meeting, your own boss's meeting. It could be to stand in for you while you're on holiday. It could be to go to a network event. It could be to give a talk about your company at a chamber event, things like that. Lots of opportunities for them to grow. Fostering a positive work environment. This is less snarling and more clapping in lots of different ways. The idea of that we notice when people do things well. If they need to be reprimanded, criticized in some way, that's done in private. We really want to make sure that we look for positive intent, that we assume that positive intent, that people are encouraged. We show that we trust them. We encourage teamwork, things like that. And then finally, encouraging work-life balance. Now, as a leader, you might think, oh, I have so little to do with that. Well, actually, you have a lot because they look to you to model their work-life balance based on what you do. If you're doing, dark 30 emails and late night emails and voicemails, things like that, and you're working on the weekends, etc., they may feel they need to do that too. Most times it's inappropriate. You get paid the big bucks, they don't. So you need to broadcast a policy about this. Although I am sending these messages at these hours, it is not expected that you check them or respond to them until business hours, that sort of thing. Give people permission to ignore you. And if at all possible, delay your broadcast of your message or sending your messages until business hours because it just puts pressure on them. The other big mistake I've seen people make over the years is that we ask people who don't have children to travel more than those that do. And we try to say, well, you don't have kids, we need you to be here in Milwaukee on this date kind of thing. Not fair, discriminatory, possibly. Really try to balance it out and find out who wants to travel, who likes to travel, who wants to be doing that kind of activity. So those things are really important, and try not to burden people too much with that. That is probably one of the greatest things that came out of the pandemic, is people recognized that we really could get quite a bit of work done not traveling. So those are some things you can do in terms of promoting engagement. Let's talk about some homework that you could do to really assess where your team is in terms of their current engagement levels. Conduct an anonymous survey. SurveyMonkey is a great tool for this. You can find out the areas of improvement, or you might want to hire a third party to do this. One of the things that I do as a coach is I interview people and I collect all the feedback, and then I make it anonymous, and I report the survey. 4/5 of you were upset about the lack of opportunities and growth, that sort of thing. So that's one of the great things that you can do. Just find out where you are. Don't be afraid of it. Don't put it off just because you might think it would be bad. It's a baseline. You can only go up from there. Create a recognition plan. Figure out a budget. Figure out a frequency. Implement some kind of recognition activity in the next month. One of my favorite anecdotes is about a team that implemented this, and they basically wanted everyone to recognize everyone else. So it was everything from the lunch lady to people who took care of the plants in the office, things like that. That can be really helpful. And it was basically just little love notes that got posted onto a board. And then a leader took one or two, read them aloud at the beginning of each staff meeting. It made people feel really good. And then if it may have uncovered some things that people didn't recognize that these, quiet helpers in the background were doing that merited an increase. So think about things like that. It could be simple. It could be pizza. It could be lots of things. So just get creative. You can Google all kinds of ideas that are out there. The third area is professional development. Pick a couple of opportunities for your team. Schedule a workshop, a training session. Something as simple as like personal branding or talking about personality styles is really quite uplifting for organizations. They love to take an assessment. They want to know how they can apply it in their everyday work. And that's a solid win because the payoff is immediate. Taking the DISC assessment, finding out how you work best with others, that's a great way to go. Have a feedback session. Figure out what you could do to enhance the environment. It could be everything from Casual Friday, which is pretty popular now, to having a potluck once a month if you meet in the office, or having a day with no Zoom meetings, having certain hours where you don't do any meetings at all just so you can get your work done. Things like that could be really, really helpful. That might come up in a feedback session. And then finally, work-life balance. Coming back to that topic again of as the leader, you're dictating what people think the expectations are around work-life balance. Encourage people to volunteer, have hobbies, things like that can go a long way in terms of their satisfaction because people appreciate organizations that respect them for a human, not just the work that they contribute. So one of the questions in my old company was, I feel like my manager cares about me as a person. So important, so important. So think about that. Could be a health club membership, could be all kinds of things, flex hours. Figure out what will really work for team members, and it may not be the same thing for everyone. So next time we're going to talk about navigating change, and that is the topic that comes up with every organization that I work with. It's like, how can we go through change and make it less painful? We'll be talking about that next time. So until then, take good care. Don't forget to like us if you're doing the thumbs up on YouTube. Give us 5 stars. If you're listening to the podcast, share with your friends. We're happy to help.
Thank you for listening to Playbook for Performance. To learn more about Shawna Corden, her consulting programs and tools, please visit her website at shawnacorden.com and follow us on social media